Hey friends, Kim from Stamping Imperfection. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm creating a card for the Turner's Syndrome Awareness Auction, and you will find the auction itself on Instagram. I was invited by the founder and coordinator of the Instagram auction to create a card and donate it to her cause, which is Turner Syndrome Awareness. Her daughter has Turner Syndrome, which is a genetic disorder where females are born with only one X chromosome, and it has a lot of health complications for the young women who are born with this. And so she's trying to raise awareness of Turner syndrome, and for the last few years, I think 4 years actually, she's had a blog hop and a Linky party, which I've tried to participate in and donate to. And this year she's starting the auction. I thought it sounded like a really good idea, and it's for a really good cause. I'll have more information about Turner syndrome on my blog, or I'll put links to more information about Turner syndrome actually in the description of the video below and on my blog at stampingimperfection.com. So let me tell you a little bit about the card that I created to donate. I decided that I wanted to do a watercolor card because I love to watercolor, and I got this sweet little stamp set from the Rabbit Hole Designs, and I can't remember the name of it. I would say it's the cute one with the rabbit on it, but it's the Rabbit Hole Design, so they have lots of cute stamps with rabbits on them. And I'm using some watercolor paints from Altenew that I recently got. And because you can see this is a pretty clean pan. My other watercolor set does not look like this. So I wanted to play with those. And one of the things I'm trying to focus on with my watercoloring now is to get some shades of color in there and to have some highlights and some dark spots. And you can see that's kind of what I'm doing now. And I am by no means a watercolor expert. I just really like to do it. And I really like to experiment. So I practice a lot. And this is, every time you do it, you learn something or you realize something. You just get a little better each time. So I'm just playing around with these. And now when I start out with my watercolors like this, every time I sit down to play with them, I just take my, I have a mister bottle, and I just mist all of the colors with water just to get them activated because they're water reactive. That's why they're watercolors. And then the ones that I usually pull out into the pan on either side. And you can also get separate pans, or I could pull it out on the craft mat that I have below there and do it that way as well. So I just added some browns and pink to the bunny, and I did a little purple on the butterfly, and now I want to add a little bit of grass or ground beneath him. So I'm going to use a couple different shades of the green, and I'm just making flicks with it. I'm actually just picking up the color directly from the little paint pans. My brush is wet, and the paints themselves are a little bit wet, so I'm able to pull it out and make little thin strokes. I'm just going to do that with a few different colors, and I have the colors sitting in front of me. I actually have a notebook that I usually, when I get new watercolors or new markers or something like that, I make color swatches, and that way I can have that sitting in front of me, and you can kind of see. This isn't the color swatch, but it's the papers that came off the kit, and or each of the paint pans. As I open them all up, I taped them to a piece of paper so I could keep that in front of me. And now I'm just adding some color to the flowers and still trying to keep a dark side and a light side. So I'm working on that. And I'm just adding a little brown to add ground there. So I'm just kind of trying to fill it in and make it look a little bit realistic, and that's giving the red and the blue that I put on there a little bit of a chance to dry before I fill in with a lighter version, a more watered down version. So I have the darker around the center of that flower or around the right hand side of the blue ones, and then I'm just lightening it up on the edge. I love the look of watercolor, but I have been practicing making sure that I keep, the shaded parts a little bit darker and then everything else a little bit lighter. So I have some variation in color. So that's actually my goal when I do this. So I just have fun with it, and I fuss with it for a while. So I forgot to turn on my camera, but I felt like this card needed a little bit of sky detail. So I took out a cloud stencil, and you probably have a cloud stencil in your stash. I have at least 3 of them. I used the one from Maker Forte here, and I used tumbled glass to add a little bit of sky detail above the bunny. I just felt like it needed a little something. And then I used my journaling pen to clean up the sentiment a little bit, because I stamped on watercolor paper here to do my watercoloring, and it's got a lot of texture, so I just wanted to make sure that my sentiment was completely legible. So I'm using double-sided adhesive tape to attach this top piece, which I cut at 4 by 5 1/4. I'm using the double-sided adhesive to attach it to a piece of purple cardstock cut at 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And I added a little bit of liquid glue because that gives me a little bit of wiggle room. And when I line things up like that and I'm trying to get the borders even, I need a little bit of wiggle room. So adding a little bit of adhesive, a liquid adhesive on top of that double-sided tape allows you time to, wiggle it around and center it just the way you want. And another little trick about lining things up is to open up your card base and line it up while it's open. For some reason, I find it so much easier to line up like that. So that completes my card. Now I'm going to put the link to the Instagram auction below. You will find lots of big name card makers there and me. And I would love to have you bid on my card if you want, or I'm sure you can find cards there that you will love. So I'll put the links to everything below. Thank you so much for watching, friends. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Have a great day.